Okay, Algebra 1, I'm going to do some examples on how to multiply polynomials. We'll start out with these two binomials, 2x minus 3 times 3x plus 4, and we're going to use the area model on this first example, and then I'll show you again using FOIL. So on the area model, you just draw a box, and we're going to make it 2 columns because the first one has 2x minus 3, and then 2 rows because the second one is 3x plus 4. They each have 2 terms, so 2 columns, 2 rows. I'm going to take the 2x minus 3 and I'll go ahead and put it down the left side. It doesn't matter if you put it on the top or the left side. And I'll write it like this, 2x and then minus 3. And then I'll take the 3x plus 4 and I can put it on the top, so 3x and then plus 4. Go ahead and keep those signs with it so you don't forget about them. And then in each box is going to be whatever the two things that make up that box get multiplied together. So for this box here, this first box, we're going to go 2x times 3x, and 2 times 3 is 6, x times x is x squared. For this next box, we're going to do the 2x again times the positive 4, and 2x times 4 would just be 8x. For the box down at the bottom here, we're going to be doing negative 3 times 3x, negative 3 times 3 is negative 9, and then x. And for the last box down here, we're going to do the negative 3 times the 4. And that would give us negative 12. And what that does is it just lets us see it visually, lets us see the boxes and see the numbers out really carefully, and making sure you're not missing anything. But the answer is we always want to start with our highest degree variable, which is the 6x squared, so I'm going to write it down first. And then next you always will see that as long as the original numbers are in order, the binomials are in order, the ones diagonal like this will always be like terms. So we're going to combine our like terms. Negative 9x plus 8x, since this was positive, will just give us negative 1x or just negative x, so I'll put that next. And then last will be the negative 12, so we just put that at the end. And so that's the answer. We can't combine any of those terms, and so that's all we have. And on the next page, I'm going to do the same one again, but with FOIL, just so you can see again how to do that. And I forgot the second term thing already. 3x plus 4. Okay, so remember that FOIL stands for first, outer, inner, and last. And so for first, what we mean is the first term in each parentheses. So we multiply 2x times 3x first, and that gives us 6x squared. And then outer are the terms that are on the outer edge of each parenthesis, so that's 2x times 4, which that would be 8x. And then the inner are the ones that are on the inside of the parentheses, that's the negative 3 times the 3x, which will give us negative 9x. And then last are the ones at the very end, so that's the negative 3 times the 4. That would give us negative 12. And what you see is that the 2x and the negative 3 each got multiplied by the 3x and the 4. So you multiply 2x times 3x and times 4, and then negative 3 times 3x and 4. And then what happens here, and if you remember, these are the same as what's inside the box. 6x squared is in the box, 8x is in the box, negative 9x is in the box, and so is negative 12. We'll always combine those terms that can be combined. So you'd write 6x squared minus x minus 12. If you were to write this down as your answer, I would be counting that wrong. You must write it with all like terms combined. So that's how you do FOIL, and remember you can only do FOIL when you're multiplying two binomials. If you have a trinomial, you cannot use FOIL because you wouldn't have those 4 terms, first, outer, inner, last. You'd be missing a term somewhere. So this works really well for two binomials. When you do a binomial times a trinomial like this one, I'm going to start out by making a box, and this time I'm going to go ahead and do 2 rows because I like to put the first one on the outside, so we can say 3x and then minus 2. But on the top I'm going to have 3 terms, so I'm going to need 3 columns like this. So we go x squared minus 4x plus 8. So in this first box right here, I'm going to go 3x times x squared, which would give me 3x to the third. Not a decimal, it's just pointing which one we're at. For this next box here, we're going to go 3x times negative 4x, which would give us negative 12x squared. And for this last box on the first column, first row, we have 3x times positive 8, which would just be 24x. To do the second row, for the first box, negative 2 times x squared is just going to be negative 2x squared. And for this next box, negative 2 times negative 4x would be a positive 8x. And then the last box, negative 2 times 8 is just negative 16. Now when we go to write these down, we're going to start with our highest degree, which is should always be the one in the top left. And it's not alike with anything else. We have 3x to the third. Now the next term would be the x squared terms, and you notice that you have two diagonally here that add together that are like terms, x squared and x squared. So negative 2x squared minus 12x squared would give you negative 14x squared. And remember, when you're combining like terms, you are not adding exponents. And then next you see that these two diagonal ones, 8x and 24x, are like terms. So we're just going to add those together. 8x plus 24x is plus 32x. And then you should have just one constant term at the end, and we'll put that on the end. So this is your answer. There are 4 terms in it. They are in descending order of the variable, x to the third, x squared, x, and then a constant. And that's it on that. And I just dropped my things. I'm going to pause. Okay, I'm back. I dropped the stylus that I used to write on the iPad. Okay, so I want you to look at this one because you're going to see if you like this in that last section, which is really just a review of everything. That you're doing with polynomials. You're going to be not always going to be multiplying in the FOIL, in the box, or with FOIL. This time it's not a binomial times a binomial because the 4x minus 3 isn't in parentheses. The only thing that gets multiplied by the 2x plus 8 is this negative 3. So I'm going to drop the 4x down, and then I'm going to distribute that negative 3 times each of these. So that would give me negative 6x, minus 24. And then I would combine those two like terms, which would just be negative 2x minus 24. And that would be the answer on that. I just wanted to make sure I did one of those examples so you would remember what to do. If it's not in parentheses like this, then that means you are not doing two polynomials together. If you have any questions, be sure to let me know. I'll be happy to help. Your assignment's on page 301, but I do not have the numbers with me at home, so if you need that, get them from someone else. Peyton, you might want to ask Harrison. And that's it, and I will see you guys tomorrow. Bye.